Sacred Mass by Teresita Blanco. Introduction. Caron is a white mage who is obsessed with the Black Knight Grimory. Grimory is everything a knight should be, courageous in the face of battle, a womanizer. Since Caron is a man, he feels that his love for Grimory is unattainable. The book begins in the night that Caron finally works up the courage to ask Grimory to dance with him. Caron wears a dress, he braids his hair, and he puts on makeup, with the hope of making himself endearing to Grimory. Little by little, Caron starts to get to know the real man hidden behind the black armor, the bastard Prince Gregory, the illegitimate son of Dragon King Julian. Standing in the way of their love is Alan, the son of the Archmagus Helmer. Alan fascinates Caron, but he isn't certain if what he feels for Caron is love or lust. Throughout the book, Alan struggles to find the answer to this question while he helplessly watches Caron living with another man. Chapter 1. Little Ogre. The city-state of Wallen was situated by the sea. The port faced the east and an immaculate beach to the west. Cemented the two was a cliff that towered over the ocean. On top of the cliff was the foundation of an ancient magic tower. Surrounding this tower were ruins of a tiny fishing hamlet. No effort had been made to repopulate this small section of the city. It merely served as a type of curiosity for outsiders. It was a popular belief that the place was haunted. 2 years ago, Wallen had been the site of a brutal siege battle. In the end, the proximity to the sea afforded the advantage. It had been a tough time for the residents of Wallen, for to lose the siege meant becoming slaves to Wilderness. Independent city-states like Wallen were usually seen as an easy target. To make certain that this never occurred again, Wallen had entered a pact with 12 other city-states and principalities. In the center of the city there was a citadel home to the Warriors Guild. Unlike the army, this Warriors Guild housed soldiers belonging to the other 12 allied regions. The guild dealt both with local and international problems that concerned the interests of Wallen and its allies. A guild like that one existed in 12 other states. The one in Wallen was named after the relic used by the headmaster, the Sacred Mass. According to its bearer, the Sacred Mass amplified his magical ability, though any true magician could tell that the Mass did absolutely nothing. It was ornamental, gem-encrusted, with a black opal in the center of it. The Sacred Mass Guild differed from the other guilds in the fact that it had a magic user as a headmaster, the Matter of Eric. Wallen had a very progressive magic of it. If magic was useful in battle, then it belonged to the warrior's path. The other two noteworthy members of the guild were Spymaster Sophia and the Knight Champion Grimory. Eric had no family name or blood type. He had lost absolutely everything, and he went on a quest of bloody revenge. He would have lost himself if not for Sophia's intervention. Grimory was everything that a knight aspired to be. Handsome, gallant, well-mannered, and groomed. He was always poised and composed, and he was a most womanizer to boot, for that was expected of him. He hailed from the kingdom of Mordred. And then there was the ever-crafty and resourceful Sophia. She did not belong to the principalities. Rather, she came from an isolated island called Martisol. Sophia described herself as a nun, and she spoke of unknown gods and many things. With the war ended, Sophia had been brainstorming ways to keep their dog and pony show on the road. It was then when she came up with the idea of a publication. Using Grimory as a poster boy, Sophia set about to mythologize the life of Grimory, right down to books, statuettes, and lithographs. Her little ploy worked. Other little maidens and warriors from all over the continent wanted to know of the heroic exploits of the famous Grimory. Most of the stories were true, but if there was a warrior with an interesting tale, he gladly donated to Sophia in exchange of part of the book profit. This is not to say that Grimory now spent his days idle. Rather, in addition to his regular duties, he had to make appearances among the nobility to delight them with his wit and charm. He also made cameo appearances at bars to look for the love of his life. For the last 2 years, Grimory had lived this farce, and frankly, he was very tired of it. Aside from the three fabled heroes, there were 2 other popular faces in Wallen. They were known as the Ogre Brothers. They acquired the nickname due to their ogre heritage. The oldest brother, Bron, had a high purity of ogre blood, This afforded him great physical fortitude and regeneration. He would have been a rather tall young fellow, but due to starvation during his youth he was only 6'2". This was a tad on the short side for someone of the ogre heritage. While he lacked in stature, he made up in pure grit. There was not a speck in his body that did not have muscle. His skin was a healthy tan, but when his blood boiled, it turned into an unhealthy greenish hue. His strong face was clean-shaven, well-groomed, and had impeccable manner. Bjorn and his brother had been adopted as children by an elderly noble couple that had no children. And then there was the little ogre Caron. Caron had a difficult childhood, more so than his brother Brun. Poor Caron had been unfortunate enough to have been born slender and pretty. Too pretty for a man. While his brother's hair was as red as the amber, Caron bore an elegant silver blonde hair, just like the hair of his dead biological mother. Caron was a lot like his poor mother, with the delicate hands, the angelic face, and even the same elegant rosy lips. When Brun looked into Caron's face, it was sometimes painful due to this likeness. The resemblance to his mother ended in the face, and his eyes had been a particular cause for many woes early in his life. When Caron's overfather looked into his eyes, he saw a child that was not his own. None of the locals of Wallen knew the reason or the cause. It was the popular opinion that poor Caron had finally gone completely insane. If one asked the noble ladies, Caron had finally snapped after the death of his first son, Charlie. The warriors believed it had something to do with the war. While the enemy mages marched through their own ranks with fire and brimstone, poor Caron did his best to try to preserve his city and his people with his white magic. Far too many times he toiled and labored with his magic till he found a painless and easy solution to the enemy war mages: sleep. Caron was an expert in putting folks to sleep. At a massive scale, it made easy pickings dealing with the war mages. He could either lull the enemies to sleep or keep the war mages from having a decent night of sleep. Since sleep spells were underrated and mostly ignored by war mages, they easily fell to Caron's influences. After 3 nights of not sleeping, the war mages were usually completely neutralized. It was this simple ingenuity that had won him the respect of the warriors and of the people in Wallen. The housemates had their own theories as well. They thought that Caron had gone mad due to his unrequited love for grimoire. Many a time they had seen Caron talking to himself. Upon closer inspection, they had seen him talking to one of the lithographs of grimoire. Caron on two, one in his bedroom and the other in the bathroom. During his idle times, he only bothered to read whatever literature related to grimoire, whether it be a book, a newspaper article, or even a half-finished letter. Brun too had his own speculation as well. He felt guilty about marrying the woman his brother had been engaged to. Caron had allowed her to marry his brother when he came to the realization that Alisa was only with him out of pity. A few weeks after his marriage with Alisa, Brun discovered that she was with child. Due to the timing of it, the paternity of Charlie was in question. Brun felt that he had stolen his brother's chance at true happiness. Whatever the reason, Caron was not well. Many a night he would spend roaming the streets alone. One time he was spotted near the cliffs that face the ocean. The infamous haunted cliff always had 2 unfortunate guards on patrol. During the war, it had become a popular spot for suicide. The fact that Caron had been spotted there by the guards greatly distressed Brun. It was on a one summer night that Caron's insomnia roaming brought him to the Sacred Mass Warriors Guild. The main hall also functioned as a bar. It had the bar counter, the cast, bottles, and cushion round chairs. To the left of the bar there was a small stage where bars regularly performed. To the right there was 2 large windows, and in the middle the notice board with other contrasts. On top of the notice board there was a painting of Caron in his ornamental white mage robes. Caron greatly disliked the painting, for it made him out to be some type of hero. Once he had asked Eddie to remove the painting, but Eddie had politely declined without giving a specific reason. The painting did not have a signature. When Caron entered the Sacred Mass Guild, his eyes were immediately drawn to the painting. The torches and candles near the painting made it impossible to ignore. Like every night, Caron pondered who had gone into all the trouble of making this life-size painting of the little ogre. As much as Caron despised the painting, it truly did capture his likeness well. His delicate hands, the delicate nose, and the gentle rosewood eyes, so different from his brother's ultramarine eyes. Caro looked about the bar counter for an empty seat. He smiled when he noticed a familiar silhouette. Sitting at the bar was Grimody with his signature black armor, with his ornamental red spikes that fell from the back of the helmet. A metallic eye opened in the back of the helmet of the armor. The magical armor known as Inaris was quite peculiar indeed. Eric described it as a type of fluid armor. Some of the members of the guild claimed to have heard the armor speaking to them. One time a thief tried to take the armor. When he put it on, the armor shrunk and crushed his bones. The eye seemed to smile before closing itself again. Not turning around, Grimody said, "Have a seat, Caro." Not waiting for a second invitation, Caro sat down beside Grimody. Grimody turned his head to look at Caro. Caro could not see his eyes due to the fact that the helmet was always closed, though the armor at the moment was open enough for the chin and the mouth to be visible. Grimody took a small sip of his drink before sighing. "Are the fishes not biting today?" asked Caro. "Do you see any fishes?" asked Grimody. Caro looked about. Other than the regulars and a small group of male travelers, there was not a proper catch in sight, with the exception of Sofina. The self-procuring nun, Sofina, was put in an elegant black dress. Her flashy pink hair was decorated with a cycler that had a long shimmering veil. Her delicate hands were encrusted with diamonds. Her butterfly-shaped earrings had tiny little topazes. Sofina was in the middle of playing the guitar while she sang some of her native music from her little island of Martisor. Her eyes glistened in an ashy blue, and she had the silky voice of a siren. Sofina was coveted by many nobles who imagined that she was a pure-blooded mermaid due to her voice, and the fact that she came from the sea. Sofina claimed to be a celibate, and any unfortunate fellow who thought that they could take on the little lady were often in for a big surprise. Sofina was a greedy little miser. She had a sixth sense with the treasury. Even the amount of alcohol served in the bar was rationed. She was a fair boss who paid living wages, even to the apprentices that traditionally did not see a sixpence till making journeymen. Sofina was currently singing her favorite song, which epitomized her love of stuff. The line she was singing at the moment was, "But I prefer a man who lives and gives expensive jewels." Grimody chuckled before taking a small sip from his drink. The barkeep served Caro his usual glass of Moscato. When Caro got his drink, he gestured his glass to make a toast. "To Sofina, to our greedy mistress," said Grimody, clicking his glass with Caro. He added, "Can I try yours?" Caro handed him the glass, and he smiled when he saw Grimody taking a small sip. The travelers became a bit boisterous, and they started laughing while having their own private conversation. Caro was too focused on Grimody and the glass he had just raised with his lips. He did not realize that the jokes being made was at his expense. The traveler had just noticed that Caro was a man. Ever since Charlie had died, Caro had gotten into the habit of dressing as a maiden during his night wanderings. Caro had started to grow his hair ever since Bron's father died. Caro wanted to spy the ghost of the man who had bullied him, his brother and his mother since his birth. Adding the dress to the mix was just Caro continuing to spy the long-deceased ogre. Bron worried often about his brother roaming about in such a getup. He knew that the locals would not mind, and many supported the little ogre's new chosen lifestyle. But due to their undying gratitude and loyalty to Wallen's very own white mage, outsiders were another matter. Wallen's economy was heavily dependent on trade and tourism. It was quite common to see travelers filling up all the inns, and sometimes those outsiders came to Wallen to cause problems. On that particular night, Caro was sporting the entire ensemble, an exquisite golden dress with silver thread embroidery, with small ornamental pearls. The cuffs and the v-neck, and at the end of the skirt, were made of rabbit fur. To break the monotony of the segment, this part had space black opals into the outfit. Around the waist, he had a white sash embroidered with golden threads and small rubies. The underdress was neck-high to masquerade the Adam's apple. The only jewelry Caro sported was a silver sea gathering with the family crest, a cockatrice, with a winged serpent beneath his talon. Caro was wrapped inside a red shawl, which also covered his head. His long blonde hair was tied in an elegant braid. Around his waist, Caro also wore an unwanted addition to his ensemble, It was a leather belt with a dagger. As of lately, his brother kept insisting that Caron not leave the house without it. Caron had his magic. He did not see the need for a dagger. For the sake of peace, he indulged his brother in this matter. The night progressed slowly, with Caron and Grimory making small talk about nothing in particular. After half an hour of continuing like so, Caron finally said, "Grimory, I." Go on, said Grimory, turning to look at Caron. "Never mind," said Caron. "For the last month it has been Grimory this and that. What is it that you want to ask me?" insisted Grimory. Caron called into his shawl. A cold wind was entering into the city from the ocean. The open windows of the bar allowed it to quickly enter and penetrate the interior of the sacred mass. An eye manifested on the shoulder of the armor, followed by a small beak. Caron heard Inanni speak. "Let me guess, you wish to dance with this Grimory." Grimory chuckled. Caron allowed for Grimory to lower his shawl. Grimory said, "Well, you certainly did go to a lot of work, right down to the makeup and everything. I haven't anything better to do with my time at the moment, and I feel the need to stretch my legs. Let's say biologically fused with this bar stool." "I do not understand," said Caron, putting his shawl back on around his head defensively. Grimory sometimes spoke oddly, and it never failed to put Caron on edge. Grimory sighed in frustration before getting up and doing a gentlemanly bow. He stretched his hand before saying, "This dance, my lady." It was at this point that the travelers loudly bursted out laughing. Grimory sternly ignored the laugh, while Caron was too focused on his internal turmoil to be aware of anything else that was not Grimory. After a few minutes of hesitation, Caron got up and he took the hand that Grimory was offering. Grimory stood up straight and drew Caron closer to assume the dancing position. While he was at it, he also released Caron from the bindings of the shawl he was still clinging to. Grimory handed the shawl to the barkeep and he took Caron to the dance area. Sofina, amused, changed her music into something she thought they could dance to. Grimory sighed with frustration again before saying, "How do you expect we dance to that?" Sofina got closer and said while still playing the guitar, "It's called waltz. I'll show you how to dance to it. Caron is familiar with it. We danced a bit during his brother's wedding." Grimory turned to stare at Caron, who looked as if he was regretting every life decision he had ever made. Sofina resumed her guitar playing. After getting the beat, Grimory said, "Just follow my lead. Put your hand on my shoulder. Keep it nice and straight. There, like that. Perfect. Let's go. Follow the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There, see? You remember." After a brief introduction, Grimory assumed his waltzing position with his hand over Caron's waist. The two gracefully glided through the hall. After the second song, Caron relaxed enough to look at Grimory's armored face. By the third song, Caron was finally enjoying himself. A shadow of dismay appeared on his face, and he unconsciously drew nearer to Grimory, almost as if he wanted to kiss him. Such a venture was a bit difficult for Caron. He was the height of an average man. Grimory in the armor was a head taller than Caron. Grimory was focused on the task at hand. His movements were almost mechanical.